Right, do this quickly before my battery runs out because I've got 4% and it's the only battery I've got. Welcome everyone. You have noticed in the last few weeks there's been no content. The reason is quite simple. I haven't had time is the honest answer. That's the straight answer. I haven't had time. I am working on it, but as of this Thursday, because I'm recording this and uploading it on the same evening. So this Thursday, the camera guy actually comes back, because you'll notice I've done all my own content in the last couple of months because he's been away. But he's now back, so content will resume as normal, thankfully. So yes, this video is, I cut this one together, what you're about to see. I cut this together a couple of weeks ago. I just haven't had time to upload it. So here it is, sit back, enjoy it, and I will see you officially next Monday. See you then. Take care. I think it's time for me to invest in some new GoPro batteries. Tough book. I will need that. Right, it is Saturday morning. It's just gone 6:30. I've left my good lady in bed because I want to run out and go and do a quote. Normally I find on Saturday mornings that I tend to sneak out in the morning at sort of 6:30, and then hopefully I get back and she's sort of just waking up and I'm like, oh hey babe, I've just been to the bathroom, you know, and she never knows I've been out for like 3 hours, because sort of Saturdays and Sundays is our time. So but anyway, I'm off to go and look, I've got to go and price a job up, so I'm going down to sort of southeast, sort of Dartford neck of the woods. It's actually other side of Dartford, I think. So I'll see you down there. Okay, we're here. This is actually something I'm tendering for. I've actually got all the drawings. I just chose to come out here and just have a look at it. Sometimes I think if you come out here and actually properly have a look at it, you get a better perspective of the site, of where it is and stuff. But this is it. It's basically, it's a bloody big car park and it needs new lighting. So all of these columns here, they're all coming out. All these ones dotted around here, they're all coming out, all the way down here, all the way back, and I believe they're going to be putting new ones in the court. You know, they're just going to be dotted all the way around again. I don't know if it sounds silly. I just prefer to actually come out here and physically see it in the flesh. I think you just get a much better perspective of how to price something if you can actually physically see it. This is my drawing actually. Obviously, it's a very exact, it's a very exact drawing, but you get the gist. It's only just for my measurements, just to compare it against the drawings which I've got. I just want to walk it out and just measure it. There you go, that gives you a slightly better perspective. So it's all of this, all the way down, across, and all the way back. I'm only doing it roughly using my feet, but one pace is a metre roughly. Start here, I guess. That's 100 metres. Okay, and the width of the back is 30 metres. So that's 100 from the very back of the car park to that corner is 140 metres. Hello, train. Right, that's 120 metres. So from there, just to where my finger is, somewhere there. Actually, that reminds me, as of, I think it was the day before yesterday, we're finally safe contractor registered. Pwah. That was a long time coming. It's really tough. It's not easy doing it. It's a lot of paperwork and it's all auditing mainly. Okay. I now have my measurements. Right, I don't know what content's coming next because I don't actually know what's on my computer and what order I've cut it in. So I guess we'll find out. Right, I'm back in, well, I call it Borstal, but this school. You remember you saw me doing this job where it was a quote. We did that walk around quote. Well, I'm back here now. And I'm just running in the switch wires for the contactors, for the grid switches. I'll leave a link to the video up here so you'll remember what I mean. I've got to run out 8 of those, because I've got 8, so there's 8 grid switches. So I've got to run 8 of those. They've got to go all the way down to the incomer downstairs. And I'm actually just going to run it out here just because I need the space. So 2 minutes, let me do this first and then I'll come back to you in a bit. I say 2 minutes, I think that's going to take about half an hour actually. I hate untangling cable. So this here is one length, so this is long enough to go from the distribution panel downstairs up to the grid switch in the new kitchen. Right, so that's one. I've got to do another 7 of them, but what I will do is label them first actually, otherwise I'll forget which is which. You could use like an alarm cable, like a 7-core alarm cable if you wanted to. It's only a trigger wire, it's not actually carrying any load as such, it's just a trigger. Just decided to do it this way, the old-fashioned way. For anybody wondering, that cable stand is awesome. That was a fuck up. I cut them, I didn't mark the ends up. Knob. There were a couple of people actually in the comments saying, why are you using contactors for this? Why can't you just run a ring? Because it's only a small hob and a small oven. You could just run it on a little 32 amp ring. You could. Well, I think the main reason is because they want to have, we've got to fit a Paxton system. So where the emergency push buttons are going to be, that's going to connect to a Paxton system, which will switch on and off the contactors. I think that's the way they want to do it, which is why they want the contactor set up. Contactors do give you more flexibility for alterations in future. It does give you that much. That right hand drum looks a little skinny to me. Cheeky bastard, driven over my cables. Oh, let's keep you fit. Coronavirus, fuck. Right, that's the cable I've just dragged in. That's the end there. I will take you down to I've just loosely dragged it in, down to the intake. So that's the coil there, and it literally just comes, there's a hole in the ceiling up there which was already in. So I've just literally just dragged them through the data room upstairs, which I'll show you in a minute. And they're just coiled there, but I'll just hook them onto the side of this tray with these white ones here, and I don't know, maybe a piece of box trunking or something. There was a board there already. I'm going to put one back there, and it'll just be an enclosure. It's not going to be a distribution board as such. It'll just be an enclosure with a DIN rail in it for all the contactors. What I'm going to do, I'll just put the RCBOs in here, and it'll just feed out to the box with all the contactors in. And these here basically are going to be all the trigger cables for the contactors. So that's the plan. I think a few people were saying they were worried that the load is going to be too much. It won't. This isn't the only board in this school. There's another one. This one actually probably does a quarter of the school. It's actually not loaded up that much. I'll show you. It's not actually even loaded up that much. So at the moment we've got just over an amp, 5 amps, 1.4 amps. What I did notice, interestingly enough, there is a leak somewhere. I haven't touched anything here yet, so I don't know. It's coming from something, but if I put my clamp meter, that's your main earth bar, yeah? So you've got the service bond, water, gas, building bond. If I put my clamp there on that one, you've got 4.5 amps of leakage somewhere. I don't know where. I mean, you can actually go through, so it's not from that one. It's not from that one. There's 1 amp on the water bond. Okay, you've got 3 amps MDB30, I think. That's actually this board here. Yeah, I don't know why there's so much leakage, but something's causing a major leak to earth. I don't know what it is. I'll let them know, because they're probably going to want to investigate that. So this is the data room. All I'm doing at the minute is I'm just zip tying these up for a second. Just something like that for a second, because I've got a load more I've got to run in yet. Ties for a minute. Talking of plastic ties, you know, we've had this argument a couple of times before about this whole use of steel zip ties. Somewhere like here, I can totally understand it, you know, there's a genuine reason why you would have it here. But I'm not being funny, look at the ceiling here. It's absolutely all of this, all just plastic ties, the whole lot, you know? And you look at how much cabling's there, I mean, you can understand in a fire, I mean, this would just, you'd be buggered in here, you know? So it's just, here I get the need for it, I totally see it. But I mean, no one else is bothered. I mean, what I'll do, I'll run in all the cabling with plastic, and then once I've finished, I'll just get some all-round band or something. You just run around the entire thing just to hold it all up. So this is it. This is where I was standing last time in the last video. So it's come on a little bit. Floor's gone down. So that's the plan. You're going to have 2 there. This here will go. This will butt up to this, and there'll be another 2 hobs hitting cookers here, and the same again over there. Is just in here, so I've just clipped all the cabling in for the second. I've got to neaten it up and stuff obviously, but I've just roughly put it in for the second, drilled through, just come through there, and it'll go straight up. And this is where we were last time. So this is the basket, so it's just running on top of the basket. Yeah, I mean, no one else is giving a fuck here about nobody cares here. I'll try and make an effort, put what I can on the basket, and then it will go, and then it will go down here, and the grid switch will be just here, somewhere here. Bosch stereo, rocking the tunes. It's all right, now I've got the adapter for it, and I can listen to DAB, it's all right. And then the plan is there's going to be a single socket, or a double socket, I'm not sure yet, but they'll be in this timber work here. He's cut one out here. So there will be a double socket there, which they can just plug the hob and the oven into. You got to give it to like Michael Jackson and artists of that sort of artist of his caliber. I mean, he was ahead of the game, you know. His music was just ahead of its time. God, I mean, all right, he a bit troubled, but God, he could sing. So this is the 4mm, which is going to be doing the ring for up here. Actually, it's just a radial, the 4mm radial, which is going to do up here. So it'll come from the fuse board, from the contactors, and it'll just come straight into the dado trunking, and this will then power there's a single socket, the cooker and the hob, so more than capable. That's all right. Puh. Yeah, we got talc. You know, when you buy cable, I had some a couple of weeks back, and I think it depends where the wholesaler get their cable from, because the cable which I was stripping, it was a flex. I think it was like one of the big cables, like a 1.5 4-core flex or something, but it had no talc in it, and trying to strip the sheath off it was hell on earth. It really was. But this is really good because you've got a talc finish on the inside, which just makes pulling the sheath off super easy. So if you're buying up multiple drums, it is worth just asking for an offcut and just strip it there and just see what it's like, because you can actually end up doing yourself an injustice by getting cheap cable which hasn't got that, and it just takes you 3 times as long when it comes to terminate it, you know. Just while I'm pulling in this cable, I'm just pulling in these are the power cables from the contactors to the hobs. But one thing I wanted to point out, I've just pulled out just through pulling in this cable. So I'm not swinging on this basket. I'm just putting a bit of weight on it. Nothing that it shouldn't be able to handle. They've bolted it. Well, they put a 1.5 inch 8 screw, but the one this side has just come out the ceiling. Literally, I was just pulling in these cables, and it just came out the ceiling. There's a reason why you use M10 stud and anchors. There is a reason because of that. So please don't, I shouldn't say that, because all the basket here has all been held up with that, you know. But in a fire, I mean, that's just not going to do anything. This whole lot would just collapse. Time is money, isn't it? That's the age-old thing now. You can get the basket up on the ceiling looking good and it looks all pretty, but actually in reality it's, you know, it's in effect it's useless, because you can't pull any weight on that at all. So just something I wanted to share, just if you're, you know, using M10 stud and drop-in anchors and stuff, it does take more time, but there's a very good reason why, you know, there's a reason why it's done that way. So just wanted to share that.